Up his...
Today, from Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, it's the Cleveland Browns versus the New York Giants. Brought to you by L.A. from Anheuser-Busch. With half the alcohol of our regular beer, sometimes it's the perfect thing to say. By Radio Shack, a division of Tandy Corporation. And by Burger King. Aren't you hungry for Burger King, Herb?
It is an overcast, dark day. Lights are on here at Giant Stadium in the New Jersey Meadowlands. That's the setting for this important game for both the Giants and the Browns. In the NFC East, the Giants at 8-4, a half game behind Dallas, with the Cowboys beating the Cardinals on Thanksgiving Day. In the AFC Central, Cleveland at 6-6. Tied for first with Pittsburgh, one game in front of Cincinnati and Houston. Hi, everybody. Marv Al. Bob Greasy, and the major question going into today's game, who will be at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? Will it be Gary Danielson despite that injured shoulder? Will it be the rookie Bernie Kosar?
That's the talk around here, Marv. And last week, Danielson only throwing 9 passes, winning against the Cincinnati Bengals. They won't be able to do that today. I think you're going to see a little bit more Bernie Kosar.
And for the first time in many years, the Giants have been doing it on the ground. The rush has been strong, and they have been doing it with a combination of Joe Morris and the rookie from Kentucky, George Adams.
113 yards last week in the win against the St. Louis Cardinals. Joe Morris fumbled 2 times early in the first quarter. They yanked him. I'm sure that both of them will be ready to play today.
And as has become traditional when Bob Greasy is involved with a telecast, in fact, fans all over the nation anticipating what Bob likes to call his keys to the game. First, the Cleveland Browns.
Well, they're not tough today. The Cleveland Browns have to be able to throw the football. Bernie Kosar has got to put it up, and they have to win a little bit differently than they did last week.
What about the Giants?
Well, they're going to have to run. They lost Lionel Manuel last week for the season with a hamstring injury. They've got to be able to run the ball a little bit better.
And there is Marty Schottenheimer, 42-year-old head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Spent 11 years as assistant coach of the NFL, including 3 with the Giants under Bill Onsbarger. And there is Bill Parcells, a homegrown product from Englewood, New Jersey. His 3rd year as head coach, he took over for Ray Perkins. The Browns won the toss, and they will receive. Here's the kickoff from Eric Schubert. This is Glenn Young on the return. Young across the 25-yard line. Stopped by Robbie Jones, and it will be the rookie from Miami, 22-year-old Bernie Kosar. And a look at the offensive alignment. Outstanding running backs. Kevin Mack, a rookie by way of the LA Express of the USFL out of Clemson, and Ernest Biner. Offensive line spearheaded by the center, Mike Babb. First down from the 28 for the Browns. And it's right to the running back's back, not able to turn the corner. Terry Kennard forced it out. The Giants defensively, with Curtis McGriff, Jim Burt, Leonard Marshall. 13.5 sacks for Marshall, leads the NFL. Outstanding core of linebackers. Lawrence Taylor, 11.5 sacks. And in the secondary, Patterson, Hill, Kennard, and Williams. Pickup of 1, 2nd and 9. Kosar has 2 up, 4 down as a starter, has been disappointed. Trying to go short for Ozzie Newsome. Gary Reasons, an underrated linebacker, on the coverage.
Ozzie Newsome, number 82, will be a marked man in the secondary of the Giants. You see Reasons right here hanging all over him. Kosar scrambling out of the pocket, really just throwing it away from the defensive man as much as he was throwing it to Newsome on that play.
And there's Gary Danielson, who did not work much during the week because of that sore right shoulder. It's a 3rd and 9. And Kosar going deep. Intended for Brian Brennan, covered by the corner, Perry Williams.
Marv, that was just good coverage by Perry Williams on the play. The ball a little bit underthrown, and the out defensively with a big series on the opening series of the ball game.
And Jeff Gossett coming on to punt from inside his 15. Phil McConkey, in his second year out of the Naval Academy, is back at his 27-yard line. Gossett very rarely kicks in practice. He has a tired leg. He's gotten off quite a few kicks in that he played in the USFL before coming to the Browns. This time got away the 44-yard punt. And the Giants will go to work. We are just underway at Giant Stadium. Joe Morris back in the starting lineup. However, Maurice Carthon will serve as primarily the blocking back instead of Rob Carpenter. Bart Oates, rookie out of Brigham Young, who has had some difficulties with the coordination of the snap with Phil Simms, although they feel they have it all ironed out. Start out from the 28 and go right to Morris. Gang tackled by the combination of outside linebacker Clay Matthews and the free safety Don Rogers. Reggie Camp, Bob Golick, Carl Hairston up front. Camp having an excellent year, 7.5 sacks, and a very fine group of linebackers.
3 number 1 draft choices, and Eddie Johnson is probably playing as well as the other 3.
Browns also solid in the secondary midfield. Gross, Rogers, and Dixon, and very physical at the corners. Now Rob Carpenter has come on for the 2nd down and 9. And Simms throws broken up, intended for McConkey. Strong safety, Al Gross getting a piece of it.
Marv, if you like pitchers' duels or defensive struggles, I think we're probably in here for one today. We got threatening skies. We may get some rain. But even if we don't, these two teams, Browns defensively ranked number 4 in the National Football League, and the Giants ranked number 3. You're probably going to see a tough defensive struggle.
It is a 3rd down and 9. Big rush by the Browns, and the sack for Clay Matthews. So Matthews on the blitz, coming up with his 5th sack of the season.
Watch the protection here as you see the little twist inside. Matthews 57. He had a receiver open downfield, but with the rush, there was no way to get the ball downfield.
And this is Sean Landetta having an excellent year, 2nd in the NFC, punting. Brennan lets it go. And they will spot it inside the 35. We'll be right back.
Ford presents a new 3-year unlimited mileage powertrain warranty. For 3 years, you can drive your '86 Ford as much as you want and never drive it out of warranty. You can drive it here, there, north to south, east to west. As many miles as you want, and you're still covered. Ford's new 3-year unlimited mileage powertrain warranty. If you love to drive, it's another good reason to drive a Ford. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Burger King now begins a nationwide search for Herb, the one man who's never tasted a Burger King burger.
Herb was never what you'd call
Normal. Herb has never learned to love flame broiling instead of frying.
Herb was unusual. Herb was different.
Herb has never enjoyed this sizzling Whopper.
Pull yourself together.
Herb, wherever you are, start asking yourself, aren't you hungry for Burger King, Herb?
Most people know you can only buy a Curtis Mathis at a Curtis Mathis Home Entertainment Center. They know delivery and installation are included, and there's a 4-year limited warranty on every product. But what people don't know is just how long a Curtis Mathis really lasts.
Oh, well, time to get another Curtis Mathis.
Yep.
For products that last year after year after year, this year, make it a Curtis Mathis Christmas.
The Giants and Browns, a storied rivalry dating back to 1950. They met in the 1950 NFL Championship game. Both clubs with records of 10-2 and an 8-3 playoff victory. That was back in 1950. And Met since back in 77.
You know, the uniforms change and the players get bigger, but the plays are all the same.
Ball was spotted at the 39-yard line following the 39-yard punt by Sean Lendetta. Kevin Mack on the carry, stopped by Leonard Marshall. Cincinnati in front of Houston by the score of 7-0 on a 7-yard run by the big guy, Larry Kinnebrew. Pick up a 4. It'll be a 2nd down and 6. Ball spotted at the 42-yard line. Browns go double tight end Travis Tucker, a native of Brooklyn. The other tight end alongside Ozzie Newsome. A hard hit by Reasons on Tucker. Tucker has not caught a pass thus far this season. They have not looked his way that frequently. That time Kosar did.
This is one of the situations you have to complete these. That's a safe, short pass. Bernie Kosar putting it to him right in his hand just drops the football, but you're going to have to come up with those types of receptions to get a drive going against a very tough Giant defense.
And it's a 3rd down and 7 from the 42. Clarence Weathers is out to the left side. Now Kosar with some time and overthrows intended for Weathers. Terry Kennard, the free safety, on the coverage. So Kosar 0 for his first 4.
A little pressure up the middle that time. I'm sure the Giants want to get pressure up the middle to force Bernie to scramble to his right or to his left side. If he were a scrambling quarterback, they wouldn't try that. They would try to contain.
And here is Gossett, who has been more a directional punter than the Browns expected. During preseason, he did get the distance. And that one falling out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. So a timeout, and we'll be back right after this word.
Hello. With winter setting in, some people are worried about drinking a wine cooler when they are a whole lot cooler than they'd like to be already. So Ed got himself a cooler warmer and has developed a warmer cooler. This is simply Bartles and James heated up along with a cinnamon stick. So if you live in Minnesota or Antarctica or someplace like that, stock up on Bartles and James. It is not only the best cooler cool, but also the perfect cooler for those who prefer a cooler warmer. Thank you for your support.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
I solved all my gift problems at Radio Shack's Christmas electronics sale. Got my son two-way bass reflex speakers, half price for only $39.95 each. For my daughter, a cordless telephone, on sale $69.95. I got my wife a dual alarm clock radio, sale price $34.95. I even got myself a full-size solar calculator with memory, on sale only $8.88. Super sale.
A Christmas electronics sale only at Radio Shack.
Nowadays, it seems everybody's comparing himself to a banker. Savings and loan folks say they can give you financial counsel like bankers. And we're just like a bank. Stockbrokers say they can manage your transactions like bankers. And we're just like a bank. When others go so far to say they're like a banker, isn't it nice to know that the one helping you really is a banker? The only place you'll find a banker is the bank.
A message from America's full-service banks.
The NFL plays here when the Colts battle the Bears.
Before your team hits the field, our team hits the air. NFL 85.
When you're dealing with higher volumes of information and need answers fast, you search everywhere for solutions, but find it hard to get on top of things. That's why IBM created the personal computer AT, with the power to push high performance even higher. With the AT, fast becomes faster, and the capacity to handle data becomes greater, all to help put your business on solid ground. The IBM Personal Computer AT for advanced technology.
The dawn is breaking, and it begins again. The spirit lives on, with pride in the past and footsteps to the future. He's Robert Jackson of the Cleveland Browns, and he's seen it in the faces of young people, learning the values that will last them a lifetime. He was a Cub Scout, become a Boy Scout, and today he's a Scout leader. Here's where courage and teamwork, independence and interdependency are born in young people.
The United Way and the National Football League want to salute the Boy Scouts of America on this their 75th Diamond Jubilee. 1910 to 1985, the spirit lives on.
This year, be part of the spirit. Join the Jubilee. Support scouting through your United Way. This message furnished by the National Football League.
This nice-looking piece of equipment is called the flak jacket, worn by Kevin Mack of the Cleveland Browns and often worn by Bob Greasy here in the booth when things get tough. Doesn't seem to be that much protection, though. He has the bruised ribs. Does this do the job?
This is a different type of flak jacket. It doesn't give you as much protection, but the thing it does, it's soft and allows him to carry the football along the side. Now, if he had a hard plastic one, it would be a little bit more slippery, I would say, on the side carrying the football, and it might drop the football, but this is a better one for a ball carrier.
Kevin Mack just passed Jimmy Brown's rookie rushing record, and here's Kosar firing deep to corner. Perry Williams on the cover, and a flag is down. The flag thrown at the goal line, and it will be against the cornerman, Perry Williams.
Perry Williams, 23, can't believe that he did anything wrong. Now, you cannot impede the path of any receiver or the defensive back to get to the football. I don't see anything there, Marv. He didn't impede his running into his lane where he was running. He didn't block his position or his opportunity to catch the football. That was nothing that I saw there at the end of that play.
And a 26-yard penalty. First and goal from the 2. Johnny Davis now in the backfield for Cleveland, leading the way. Ernest Feiner is stopped by Terry Kennard. Davis, the specialist in goal line situations. Where's number 38? There he is, 8th season out of Alabama.
38, Johnny Davis leading up into the hole. Good defense, as you see the entire Giant defense getting in there and getting a part of it.
And a second and goal from just outside the 2. Now Mack has replaced Davis, so Mack and Feiner lined up in the I. And this is Feiner following Mack, and he is in for the touchdown. Ernest Feiner, who earlier, late in the first quarter, limped off, but Feiner right back on the field, and he has scored his 9th touchdown of the season to give the Browns the lead.
Watch the offensive line now that's blocking. Everybody will scoop and try to block the next man to them. Watch the offensive line as they slide all to their right and try and block the defensive line. Now you've got the linemen blocked. Now we got to get the linebackers blocked. Just get a standoff, and a good running back should get into the end zone.
And here is Matt Barr, and he makes it 26 for 26 on the season. The Browns take a 14-7 lead on the Giants.
Got to get out, got it out. Got to get away and you driven apart. Take me.
Soon someone who doesn't know anything about you could assign you a new long-distance company. They won't know how much AT&T's clear long-distance connections mean to you. Or our personalized customer service, our worldwide calling. They won't know unless you tell them. AT&T long distance for over 100 years. When you reached out, we were there. And you can keep it that way. If you're asked to choose, make the choice yourself. Send in your ballot.
Listen. Did you hear that? Or was it your imagination? The Panasonic VHS Hi-Fi gives you sound through your stereo so real, you'll wonder, is it a movie? Or is it in fact happening? Until you've seen the Panasonic VHS Hi-Fi. You haven't heard it all. VHS Hi-Fi video recorders from Panasonic.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By the astonishingly simple new Sony Handycam. All the excitement of video movies now in the palm of your hand. And by the Sperry Corporation.
Marv Albert with Bob Greasy from Giants Stadium in the New Jersey Meadowlands. And there is Perry Williams, the right corner, who had that controversial pass interference call. The interception by Sims. Here's a pull one out of the Washington Redskin playbook from 2 weeks ago. The onside kick to Jerome Sally on the recovery. Let's get back to that interference call. You'll see the receiver, Brian Brennan, in the race with Perry Williams.
Now watch the left hand of Williams right here, number 23. It stretches out, but he's looking back for the ball. The rule reads, Marv, a player cannot significantly hinder the progress or opportunity of another player to catch the ball. I don't think that arm sticking out there, since he was looking back, significantly hindered him an opportunity to catch the football.
Sims has a first down from the 34, goes to Adams. And is just shy of the first down. Matthews and Johnson combining on the stop. Cincinnati to Houston now 21-0 in the second quarter. Boomer Esiason hitting James Brooks on a 57-yard pass play. Kennebrew with 2 touchdowns. So 21-0. The Bengals coming in at 5-7. Well, they call it a first down. It is a first down at the 44. Picks up Carthon.
Well, it wasn't a mix-up. Carthon just slipped. He doesn't get an opportunity to carry the football that many times. He was probably a little excited and just actually slipped on the turf. Number 44 right there slips. As you see, Sims was ready to give him the ball, and now he's looking around and says, should I wait and give it to him, or should I take off running? I've been there before.
It's been a long football year for Maurice Carthon, who made the jump from the Generals of the USFL, and as you say, rarely handles the ball. He's been primarily back. Intended for Bobby Johnson, and Hanford Dixon got a piece of it. Giants have yet to complete to a wide receiver. It has been Sims and Bavaro. That's been it.
And that was a big play by Hanford Dixon. You know, the Cleveland Brown corners, Minifield and Dixon, like to play man-to-man coverage. And Marty Schottenheimer says, if the offense wants to know what defense they're in, all they have to do is look at our defensive backs when they break the huddle. If they're smiling, it's man-to-man coverage. If they're frowning, it's a zone.
And the Browns now with the extra defensive backs, 3rd down and 8 from the 46. We are early second quarter. And Sims throws it away. Bobby Johnson was the only receiver in sight.
Now Sims will take the boos for that play, but a lot of times you have options, and the receivers have an option to run one route or another, and depending on the coverage. Now, Bobby Johnson obviously ran one route and read a different defense than Phil Sims was reading.
Sean Landetta back at his 30-yard line. Brian Brennan in his second year out of Boston College, awaiting the punt. Flag has been thrown. Here's Brennan to the 25 and out of bounds. Andy Hidden pushing about 36-yard punt and a 7-yard return. And apparently no flag. It was inadvertent flag, as the officials like to term it.
A VHS video camera.
And recorder.
Oh, well, it's so big.
It's a lot more than I expected.
This year, bigger isn't better. That's why Sony invented the Handycam.
It's so little.
A video camera recorder. It fits in one hand. Just point and shoot to capture 2 hours of rich color. And vivid sound on one tiny video cassette.
Oh, it's a hat.
Then play it back on his little Handycam deck. You can even copy what you've shot on VHS or Beta. Christmas comes just once a year, but the memories can last forever. So instead of a big, bulky gift, give a new Sony Handycam. The little gift that'll go over in a big way.
This is the best Christmas ever.
What is the car shape of the future?
Ford consultant Jackie Stewart drives some forward-looking vehicles.
Concept cars like these are a deliberate look to the future. They've been very carefully designed to have the airflow efficiency that makes cars drive better. Ford learns from its experiments. This motor car may look futuristic, but it's actually now. It's the new Ford Taurus.
Coming soon to your Ford dealer. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Hi, I'm Earl Anthony. Join Jay Randolph and me for the PBA Fall Tour Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on NBC.
That will be the wrap-up of the Fall Tour next Saturday right here on NBC Sports. Cleveland left tackle Paul Farron getting a tape job on the sideline, and he's been replaced by Bill Cox, 3-year man from Penn State. So Cox now in at left tackle. Crowd getting into it. Browns first down from their 27. They lead the Giants 14-7. 2.5 in, second quarter. Play action for Kosar. Kevin back out of the backfield and then wrapped out by Lawrence Taylor.
Taylor is one man that the offensive team, no matter what team you come in here with, every offensive team has got to find out where Lawrence Taylor is going to be. And offensively, you plan your entire offensive game plan and scheme to know where Lawrence Taylor is. If you don't, he can cause big problems, because what they like to do is get mismatches, get him on a back, and the back cannot block Lawrence Taylor.
Pass picked up 7, 2nd and 3. Brennan 86 in motion. And Ernest Biner short of the first down. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Giants and the National Football League is prohibited. 3rd down and 2. The Browns from their 35. They lead it 14-7. A 2-yard run by Kevin Mack. Biner took it in from 2 yards out following an interception and a pass interference call. Joe Morris scoring from 3 for the Giants. Kosar on the roll. Complete. Intended for Ozzie Newsome. Strong safety Kenny Hill on the cover.
Broken up.
Kenny Hill with a good play. Ozzie Newsome right here. Ozzie Newsome is going to come across the field as Bernie runs this way to make it a little bit of an easier throw. But Kenny Hill, 48 on the coverage, runs right across the field, and ball was a little bit low on the throw.
Penalty marker down as Gossett got it away, and the fair catch by Phil McConkey. Here's the referee, Tom Dooley. 47-yard punt by Gossett, and a procedure call against the Browns. Head coach Marty Schottenheimer Took over last year for Sam Ratigliano.
Number 51 in the kicking team.
Schottenheimer went 4-4 after Cleveland began at 1-7. So they finished 5-11, although they had one of the NFL's strongest defensive units, and that has carried over to this season, although the Browns are 6-6. Penalty called on Eddie Johnson. So Gossett now will punt from his 15. Good high kick. McConkey off the good coverage. He is stopped by Curtis Weathers. 41-yard punt. No return. We'll be back in just a moment.
McDonald's new McDLT could be the best tasting lettuce and tomato hamburger ever. That was just your first bite.
Guidance systems, marine navigation, computer systems. Sperry technology has set a standard for anything that moves, on land, sea, or air. Now Sperry will set a new standard for airline safety. A warning system that can sense wind shear and alert the cockpit automatically. You know, a lot of people consider Sperry a safe choice. They don't know how right they are.
In the past, you saw a big Ford 4x4 pickup carry a Chevy pickup up this monster mountain of boulders. But now we're going to top ourselves by carrying a Chevy and towing a Dodge pickup up the same mountain. Because this year, Ford has the most powerful lineup of V8 engines, gas and diesel, of any pickup. And only Ford has independent front suspension for ground-grabbing traction. No wonder they're America's best-selling full-size pickups. The best-built American trucks are built for tough.
The Heisman Trophy. For half a century, it has symbolized excellence in collegiate football. Its recipients, an honor roll of distinguished athletes, men of outstanding personal achievement. Live from New York, the 51st presentation of the Heisman Trophy. If it's special, it's on NBC Sports.
It is a nippy 46-degree day at the New Jersey Meadowlands Giant Stadium. Bob Griese has the extra lining in the sweater, being from Miami, not able to take this type of weather. First down from the 28-yard line. Joe Morris back on the scene. Out to the 33, Al Gross, the strong safety, on the stop. So the Giants, who are going with Adams after that impressive series by Morris, go back to the little guy.
Well, I'll tell you, it may say 46 on that thermometer, but it's a lot cooler down there on the field. Main reason being is that the field is wet, and once you get your clothing wet, it's a lot cooler.
You roll around the field in your NBC Blazer?
I tried not to fall on the field as much as I could.
2nd and 5 from the 33. And it's picked off again. Al Gross all the way for the score. A 37-yard return on the interception. Second time Sims has been picked off this first half. For Gross, his 4th interception of the year. Al Gross, in his 3rd season out of Arizona, scoring his first NFL touchdown, and for Cleveland, their first defensive touchdown since 1983. The Browns lead at 20-7, and here is Matt Barr looking to add the extra point. So Phil Sims intercepted twice, 15 interceptions on the year. Hearing it from the crowd, and we'll take another look. I don't think he saw Al Gross.
The strength of this Cleveland team is their defensive linebackers and defensive backs. He's got plenty of time to throw. Nobody's in his face. Gross has good coverage on Morris, baited him, and waited for for him to throw it and cut right into him. You know, Cleveland is 28th in the National Football League in takeaways coming into this ball game. They've gotten 2 big ones already here today.
5 minutes gone by, second quarter, and the Giants are now trailing by the score of 21-7. Phil Simms, who ranks number 3 in the NFC, but has had his ups and downs. Fumbles have certainly hurt him. And 15 interceptions on the year. He was intercepted in the final minutes of a couple of losses while attempting to drive the Giants to go-ahead score, so he has heard the criticism. The return by Kenny Hill. And Phil is hearing it from the crowd right now.
Well, you know, every quarterback that has ever played in New York especially has heard the boos louder than every quarterback that has played. There's not one quarterback that hasn't played this game and hasn't heard these boos. If he comes back and takes him down for a touchdown, those boos will turn to cheers, but it's just the fact that the fans are dissatisfied with the way he's played, and I'm sure that Phil Simms is dissatisfied the way he's played also.
First down from the 24. And here's Morris. Out across the 26. What is going through your mind as you're hearing the criticism from the crowd? As you say, every quarterback has heard it from time to time. Even Bob Greasy heard it.
Well, I think the first time you hear it, you're hurt by it. I think if you care at all how you perform, you're hurt by it. And then as you realize that, hey, it's not only you that gets everybody that played the position, then you kind of understand where the fans are coming from. They want you to play well.
2nd and 7. Receiver.
Chip Banks, one of the outstanding linebackers in the National Football League, gets in position. You saw the Giant run across his face. He did not go with him. He was in a zone coverage. Obviously, Simms thought he was going to continue on. He would be able to throw it through where Banks was, but a good, smart linebacker like Banks didn't go for the fake.
And a passing situation, 3rd and 7. From the 27. And he's able to complete to Byron Williams for the first down. And now the cheers from this capacity crowd here at Giant Stadium. Byron Williams hasn't caught a pass since the 4th week of the season.
He's only caught 5 coming into this ball game. He has the speed. Not a lot of moves, but he has the speed to catch the football. I think we have to give credit to the Brown defense. One of the best defenses in the NFL.
16-yard pickup, first completion to a wide receiver for Simms. And here's Morris. Broke a tackle.
For the speed of Morris to carry him by, and coming into the ball game, we said one of the keys for the Giants, where they have to run the football, that they couldn't rely on Simms to carry him with his pass because of the absence of Lionel Manuel. They certainly are running very well today.
And Eric Schubert attempting the extra point. Flag is down. Joe Morris going 58 for the score. Tripping penalty called against the Giants. Right here we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
Tripping, number 56 of the kicking team. Try the point again.
Marv Albert, Bob Greasy from Giant Stadium. Lawrence Taylor was called for the trip. So they move it back, and Eric Schubert will attempt the extra point once again. Jim Rutledge holding. And this one may come back to haunt the Giants.
Lawrence Taylor on the previous attempt called for a tripping penalty, and on the subsequent extra point effort, the Giants missed, so they're down 8 points.
So the Browns with a 21-13 lead.
Watch right here. This is Minifield. He's going to come down, and here's the man that's going to miss the block as we see the this way. If you watch to the lower part of your screen, you'll see McConkey coming into your picture right now. Now, he'll get the block on Minifield as you'll see him right here, makes the contact. Now, he's going to stay with him and stay with him until the speed right here, he just runs right by him. Not a great block, but good enough. Watch 51 and 50. Eddie Johnson and Cousineau. Johnson misses the tackle. Cousineau doesn't have the speed to get there. Rogers misses, and the speed carries him down into the end zone.
And the kickoff return by Glenn Young. Finding wide open space. And then almost here's Schubert on the recovery. But wait a moment. They're saying that he was down. The officials say the play was over. The fumble occurred after the play was dead. Browns maintain possession.
Right up the middle, he called a middle return. You don't see many Giants in good position to make the tackle. The ball comes out when he hits the ground. It was a good call.
Ted Watts on the hit. So the Browns first down from the 43. 86, Brennan in motion. And this is Mack trying to go to the outside, but cut off. Elvis Patterson, the left corner, able to follow him across. Man that head coach Bill Parcells referred to as toast last year because he was burned frequently. Not the case this season as he took over the starting position, what with Mark Haynes, a holdout, and Patterson has been able to hold on to that starting slot.
5 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, and playing very well, as you say.
Second down and 8 from the 45. Halfway through second quarter, Browns with a 21-13 lead on the Giants. Mack nearly broke it. Stopped at midfield by Harry Carson. Carried by Mack. Cleveland Browns coming at 6-6, tied for first with Pittsburgh. One game in front, Cincinnati and Houston. Bill Sims, who has had a very rough first half, intercepted twice. Joe Morris may have bailed him out with that 3rd down and 7, going 58 yards for the touchdown to bring the Giants back. 3rd down and 3 for the Browns. And Kosar to put it up. Incomplete. Intended for Kevin Mack.
Kosar threw a good pass. They had good coverage by the Giants. Really threw it the only place that he possibly could. Watch Taylor on the outside and Kuntz blocking him. A little bit of holding going on there. If he had a tearaway jersey, I think Lawrence would have gotten to him. Taylor's looking for that referee. Look at him. He's saying, Tom Dooley says he's holding me. Lawrence would talk to him a little bit.
And the punting unit is on. Here is Gossett. Flag thrown. Fair catch called by McConkey. But a penalty marker is down. 36-yard punt if it stands up. But it is a procedure penalty against the Browns. Seven and a half remaining in this first half. The Browns in front of the Giants by the score of 21-13. And we've had a little bit of everything. 42-yard run for the touchdown by Kevin Mack.
Illegal formation, number 51, and the kicking team, penalty decline, first down.
Again, it's Eddie Johnson. There he is, number 51. Aside from the run by Mack, moments ago, Morris went 58 yards for the score. Al Gross on the interception of Sims, 37 yards for a score. Long gainer by George Adams.
And you know, Marv, it didn't figure to be that way with these two good defenses coming into the ball game. Of course, the Brown defense has intercepted 2 passes leading to touchdowns, one an interception for a touchdown, but certainly you didn't think you'd have this much scoring this early in the ball game.
And a first down from the 15. Adams. Giants have a rotating series. Joe Morris in there the last time. Now George Adams is back. Picked up a yard, a 2nd and 9 out of the 16. Coming up at halftime, NFL 85 with Bob Costas and a close-up look. Lyle Alzado will be on hand to chat about his Los Angeles Raiders. Mark Bavaro for a 21-yard pass play.
Bavaro is going to run a inside pattern. Now watch the route of this man right here. He's going to come down and take this linebacker out of the way with him so that Sims can throw the ball over his head to his tight end. That's Johnson, 51. Now watch what Johnson, go to his right now. See, opens up there. That's what he was expecting the time before when Banks almost intercepted the ball, but Banks didn't go for the bait.
And a first down at the 32. Sims off the play action, throwing a bullet, and let's see what they call it. It was coughed up by Adams.
I think that was an incomplete pass, Marv.
Well, if it's incomplete, the Giants, of course, hold on to the ball. If not, it is a fumble recovered by the Browns, who are indicating that is what the call should be. Browns pointing in the other direction, and they get the ball.
Clay Matthews is down. Looks like he's all right.
Reggie Camp, the left defensive end, on the recovery. So George Adams, who had some fumble problems as a runner earlier in the season, this time fumbles off the hit as a runner.
That was a good call. He had possession of the ball. Both feet were clearly on the ground, and he was just knocked loose from the football. Let's take another look. As you see right there to the left. Yeah, he had both feet on the ground. That was a good call.
Third turnover for the Giants. Browns do not have any. Browns take over at the Giant 26. And this is Ernest Miner. Picked up a yard. Perry Williams on the stop.
Ball carried by Miner.
Lawrence Taylor, the dominant player on this defense, no doubt about it. Throws aside the blocking the wide receiver, throws away 3 or 4 different ones, and finally makes the tackle.
Ball on the 25.
2nd and 9. Browns now go with Brennan to the right. Weathers in the slot right. 5:20 remaining. First half, Browns 21, Giants 13.
You can't hear his checkoff.
And Kosar is broke. And let's see what they call this one. It is a fumble recovered by the Giants. So the Browns turn it over. Look to be Jim Burt on the recovery.
Lawrence Taylor comes from the right side of your screen. Now watch Kosar. Quarterback has got to have a clock in his head. He has to know how much time he has before he has to get rid of the football. Taylor coming all the way around. Ball is loose. Looks like Burt may have got on it.
He did. Taylor with his 12th sack, actually 12 and a half to be exact. Morris on the carry. Al Gross, the strong safety. Stop.
Take a look at Lawrence Taylor. Tight end is blocking on him. That's duck soup for him. Close call as to whether or not his arm was forward when he was throwing the football. The rule was that it was not, and a fumble, but a tight end trying to block Lawrence Taylor is nothing.
And the nose tackle, Jim Burt, on the recovery. Bill Parcells calls Burt sluggo. Teammates say he's missing some dots on his dice. Jim Burt. Sims goes incomplete, intended for Morris.
Johnson, number 51, getting to Sims, the only man of those 4 linebackers, not a first-round draft choice. Nobody picks him up. Finally, number 61, Godfrey, gets a piece of him, and Sims taking a tough blow, like he bent his leg back underneath him.
Eddie Johnson, only his first full season as a starter, was calling the defensive signals and handled it well. Giants have a 3rd and 10 from the 33. 4.5 left. First half. And Sims is thrown under. Second sack by the Browns. Carl Hashton, coming from right defensive end, collecting his 5th sack of the year.
Now here's Carl Hairston right here. Now watch the defensive game. These 2 men will come in. He'll come all the way around and make the sack on Sims. Both defensive linemen on the left come in. He has the speed and foot quickness to make that big loop and still get to the quarterback.
A loss of 9 on the play. Here's Lendetta. Brian Brennan on the fair catch across the 25-yard line. A 50-yard boomer by Lendetta, his best of the day. And with 4:05 remaining in this first half, the Browns will go back to the offense. Check of the scoreboard. Denver in front of Pittsburgh. Denver coming off that tough overtime loss at the LA Coliseum last week. Boomer Esiason, Cincinnati all over the Houston Oilers in the second quarter. Philadelphia in front of Minnesota, 13-0. New Orleans under new coach Wade Phillips getting in front early. And a first down for the Browns from the 27. Kevin Mack apparently able to recover, although the Giants feel that they were able to come up with the ball, but the officials say no.
Bernie Kosar just dropping that ball. Let's see if one of the linemen hits this ball as he's pulling behind him. Yeah, right there you see 62 Lilja actually hits the ball as Kosar is trying to get it away from the center. A little bit of slowness on Bernie's part, maybe the guard pulling a little bit too quick, but that happens now and then.
2nd and 11 from the 26. Newsom in motion. And Kosar fall down. Jim Burt with the Giants' 2nd sack of the day.
That time Kosar, with a clock in his head, felt the pressure that Lawrence Taylor was putting on him, but Burt got away from his blocker and got in and made the sack. Burt, 64, really an undersized nose tackle, an overachiever, not very big and doesn't weigh a whole lot, but has a big heart.
Flag thrown, illegal motion on the Browns, declined by the Giants. 3rd down, 16 now from the 21-yard line. 3:15 left in this first half of Browns 21, the Giants 13. Crowd urging the defense on. A deep drop. This is Biner. And pulling his way for the first down. What a strong move by Ernest Biner off the dump-off from Kosar. He went 17 yards to pick up the first down.
Well, you didn't figure Kosar to throw this ball downfield. His strength is his running backs. Using him here as a little dump. Let everybody come in now, dump it off, and let one of your running backs. A safe play. Marty Schottenheimer doing a great job with his team, Marty. Playing his strength, and that's his defense, and not making any mistakes. Offensively, his defense already turning the ball over 3 times for him here today.
Miner, only a 10th round draft pick last year. He went from unknown to well-known. First down from the 38-yard line. And Kosar getting it away. Brian Brennan slipped and is able to recapture his stride and has the first down. 17-yard pickup, some sloppy coverage by the Giants.
Well, the field is wet. It did rain, and it's not sloppily wet, but it is wet, and you're going to see some slipping out there. We've already seen some.
There's Clarence Weathers, limped off just a moment ago. And a report on the Browns left tackle, Paul Farron. He took a shot to the knee, and it is a question as to whether he will return. So Bill Cox remaining in at left tackle. Cody Rison on the right side. Lil Jim Bolden up, Fab the center. First down play for Biner. And we are down to 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Cleveland Browns leading the Giants by the score 21-13. We'll be right back.
For the power computer user who demands performance, Radio Shack introduces the Tandy 3000, the more powerful and more affordable PC AT compatible. Here's the power to manage your business, utilize computer networking, or create a multi-user system. The Tandy 3000, the power to put you in command. Tandy, clearly superior, in business for business, only at Radio Shack Computer Centers.
This bud's for all that you do. You keep America going. You keep the juices flowing. You are the muscle, the hope and the hustle. You keep the country growing, and you make America work, and this bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This bud's for you.
Relive the magic of the World Professional Figure Skating Championships on a special NBC Sports World Encore next Saturday.
Coming up at halftime, Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Pete Axtell, NFL 85, a roundup, all the scores and highlights around the NFL. Also, Lyle Alzado will be talking with Bob Costas. Let's see, last week, the Tonight Show. Lyle, this week, NFL 85 is theatrical career just climbing week by week. That pass deflected and short hop. Brian Brennan trying to pull one off. Nice try.
Brennan, a jack of all trades, can throw the football, catch the football. In fact, Gary Danielson said there's so many people on this team that can throw. Langhorne can throw, the 2 other quarterbacks. Because I'm probably the 5th best passer on the football team.
Third down and 7. From the 42-yard line. And at 55 remaining. First half. Biner with a flag throw. Ernest Biner, a tough man to bring down. And again, the penalty. Illegal motion at the snap indicated against the Browns.
Again, a conservative call on 3rd and 7 yards. Bill Parcells says we'll force him to go 4th down and 5 or 6.
Illegal motion. 7 and 7 offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Ricky Bolden, right guard, the man who was converted from tight end. You know, he caught a pass last year, was hit from behind, heading to the end zone, and fumbled. And at that moment, Marty shot This man is going to right guard.
He had a jersey for him when he got back, number 77. Ineligible.
It is a 4th down and 3 with 1 minute and 50 remaining in the half. And the Browns going for it from the Giant 38. And a timeout call. Giants call for time. We'll be back in a moment.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
When Elliott took over as manager, the Southport office was considered exceptionally sloppy and unproductive. So Elliott called in Team Xerox, who studied his documents and recommended a solution, including Xerox memory writers for perfect letters and the 1090 Marathon, the most productive copier in the world. Now the Southport office is exceptional.
Dramatic turnaround of the year at the Southport office.
The usual capacity crowd here at Giant Stadium in the New Jersey Meadowlands. On a dark, overcast day, the lights have been on from the start. Marv Albert, Bob Greasy, and an action-packed first half. Browns with a 21-13 lead on the Giants. Giants called timeout just a moment ago because they only had 10 men on the field.
Well, they weren't sure what the Browns were thinking about doing. Parcells declined the penalty, made it 4th and 3. Didn't know whether it was going to be a field goal, punt, but they actually were going for it. He needed to get his right defense on the field.
Well, if it were a field goal, it would be a 55-yard attempt, so the Browns going for it. 4th down and 3 at the Giant 38.
That's an unbalanced line. That's going to be on the Giants. That was something they were doing earlier in the ball game.
Cody Risen, the veteran right tackle, was leading the debate. Giants unhappy about the call. Browns celebrate. Let's take a look at it.
Here it is right here. Now, this is the man that's going to move. But look over here. You have 4 linemen. 4 linemen right here. The Browns alerted the officials before the game that they were going to use an unbalanced line going into this ball game. And in a short situation, that man right there is eligible. The man that just came off the line of scrimmage is eligible. He moved off, and the wide receiver moved up. It was a trick play that the Browns had going into the ball game.
Some chicanery by Marty Schottenheimer, who last week on a punt return, a lateral, actually, it turned out to be a forward pass, which was not what he had in mind, but Schottenheimer able to pull it off and has a first down.
He wanted to do that on George Martin. Actually, the man he pulled off was Byron Hunt.
First down at the 33. Minor in motion, and here's Mack to the outside. Harry Carson able to close it. Giants are hot. Did not like that call, giving the Browns the first down. Clock stop, minute 41 remaining.
There's some tough hitting going on down there on the sideline, Marv. You could hear it on that last play, and both Mack and Viner taking some tough blows here in the first half.
2-yard pickup. It'll be a 2nd down and 8. From the 31. Weathers flanks to the right. Brennan to the left. Mack the lone deep back. Play action. And Kosar goes to middle. Looked like Brennan slipped. 3rd down and 8 from the 31.
Kosar, very intelligent, Marv. A bright young man, the University of Miami. Only played for 2 years down there, and actually had a couple of years left of eligibility, but came out. Marty Schottenheimer has handled him very well. Let him sit, let him learn a little bit, and it was only when Danielson was injured did Bernie Kosar come in and play.
Now the rookie Fred Banks flanks to the right for this 3rd down and 8. Kosar stepping up. And he has Banks flagged down. Banks short of the first down. But a penalty marker is down. Watts and Hedden combining on Banks. So this one against the Browns. There's Banks out of Liberty University, an 8th-round draft pick.
Holding, 61 offense, third down.
That's the center, Mike Babb, called for the hold.
Joe Pendry there in the orange jacket and the headphone on, deciding which plays to call offensive coordinator for the Browns, and the man who signals them in is Richard Mann. They'll either signal them in or they'll run them in with either a guard or a wide receiver.
Now this penalty sets the Browns back to a 3rd and 18 at the Giant 41.
They may throw it long here, Marvin. Not thrown long in this situation yet.
Now rookie Reggie Langhorne flanked to the right. Brennan left. And Kosar going the other way, and very fortunate that he was not intercepted by Andy Hedden. Ernest Biner, the intended receiver, and the clock now shows 1:25 left in this first half, and the punting unit back on the field. Jeff Gossett, 4th year out of Easton, Illinois. Mentioned earlier, he may have a tired leg. In fact, the Browns rest him during the course of the week. Does not punt that frequently because he went through an entire USFL season. Bill McConkey is back at his 10. And it carries in. They'll bring it out to the 20. Not what Gossett had in mind, but a flag down. Gossett was trying to angle out. Another penalty has been called. It has been a penalty-filled first half.
Illegal motion, 47 the kicking team. Penalty is declined, first down.
Larry Brazil called for the motion. There's Brazil. Try to look at how we got where we are with the Browns up 21-13. Morris on the 3-yard run. Mack exploding for 42. Biner running it in from 2. That interference penalty against the Giants leading to that score. Then the 37-yard interception by Gross. And Morris for 58. First down from the 20. As that penalty was applied, obviously. And here is George Adams on the short of the first down. Clock running, 1:05 remaining in this first half. Giants in the hurry-up offense. Second down and 2. And it's Tony Dahlgren, who has carried the ball only 20 times coming into today, reeling off 14. Don Rogers on the stop, but now a timeout as the clock is stopped with 52 seconds remaining in the half.
Galbraith comes in on 3rd down situations, runs a little trap up the middle, and good receiver out of the backfield. You see Don Rogers with a picture-pretty tackle, wraps the arms. Now he's holding on a little bit. Galbraith says, let me up. I want to get back and run the next play.
There's Galbraith. Excellent hands, big play man. And Eric Schubert taking it over at this moment. Schubert filling in for the injured Ali Haji Sheik and has been superb, but you can look for Schubert the rest of the season. Ali Haji Sheik suffering the hamstring pull. Giants also had Jess Atkinson for a while. Schubert, though, has hit on 8 of 9. Hit the upright on a 28-yard attempt last week for his first miss. When we resume following the timeout, first down for the Giants from the 41, 52 seconds remaining in the half. And the Browns lead it 21-13. Sims going deep sideline and overthrows. Intended for the rookie from North Dakota State, Stacy Robinson, who was activated yesterday, back on the roster, broke his left hand the week before opening day, but with the injury suffered by Lionel Manuel, Robinson is back on the club. Giants were considering looking at some other people.
And they may bring some wide receivers in tomorrow or Tuesday, Marv, to look them over, but they activated Robinson for this ballgame.
They even considered John Jefferson, who was dropped by the Browns, but they felt Robinson knows the system. Here's Sims running for the first down. A flag has been thrown. Sims does have the first down. 40 seconds remaining in the half. A 12-yard scamper for Sims. It's against the Browns.
Outside, 56 defense, penalty is declined.
Here's Phil Sims looking downfield with good protection. He's run for 106 yards this year on 33 scrambles. He's not a great scrambler, but efficient enough that you have to worry about him defensively.
First down for the 47. Phil McConkey inside the 30. Chris Watkins, the nickelback, on the stop.
McConkey just took a whack at Rogers' leg. Rogers trying to hold on a little bit earlier. Now he's getting in a little bit of rough activity.
Giants do have one timeout left. Down to 19 seconds. Beat the right corner, Hanford Dixon. So the Giants trail 21-19. 15 seconds remaining in the first half. And here's Schubert.
I don't think Dixon ever knew where this ball was. In fact, I think he thought the play was over with. A lot of times the receiver, by his facial expression, can kind of give you the idea that the play is over, it's going somewhere else. Watch it now. If Dixon just turns around, he could have intercepted it. He turns around late. I'm sure Johnson was giving him some kind of acting job to say, oh, the play is over with, and then when he turned around, it was too late. The ball was there.
6 plays, 80 yards. Giants with a very swift drive within a minute and 3. There's Hanford Dixon.
I'm sure he's saying right there at the midfield, I didn't see the ball. I thought the play was over with. Nobody yelled. Usually somebody hollers when the ball's coming, but a very loud stadium, sometimes you always can't hear what Don Rogers or someone else may be hollering over to you, but you always have to play your receiver until the play is over.
The Browns by 1.
I don't hear him booing Phil Sims at this point. Good 2-minute drill, moved the club down very nicely.
Bob always looking at it from the quarterback point of view. The squib kick by Schubert, and it is covered up. Dave Pizzoli on the coverage with 13 seconds remaining in the half. And here's Bernie Kosar. And the Browns offensive unit moving back on. They'll start from their 24-yard line. And the Browns will just kill the clock right here, not taking any chances at all. So time runs out. And that is the end of the first half. First half that had its share of explosive plays. The Browns leading it at the half by the score of 21-20. Cleveland Browns coming in with a season record of 6-6, tied for first with Pittsburgh. The Giants at 8-4, a half game behind 9-4 Dallas, and several significant plays in the first half. Here's Sims being picked off by Al Gross.
Just an underthrow on the part of Sims. Maybe didn't even see Gross, thought the receiver was out there all by himself. But here's another key play, the missed extra point after the tripping call on Lawrence Taylor. The difference in the ball game at this point.
So Schubert, with the longer kick, went wide. And as a result, the Browns, as you take a look at the scoring rundown, lead the Giants by 1, 21-20. NFL 85 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be back after these messages from your local.
Tonight, Tom DeLuise's Guilt.
Howdy, Porky Pig!
Amazing story. Then on Alfred Hitchcock, John Hurd becomes suspended between life and death.
Nobody can tell I'm alive.
Then Raymond Burr is back as TV's most famous lawyer.
My client is on trial for murder.
Harry Mason returns tonight.
New York Telephone presents the What's Up call.
No kidding. Really? You did? I don't believe him.
When you want to know what's up, you have to stay in touch, which is easy to do with New York Telephone's low regional calling area rates.
He brought an accordion with him?
So pick up the phone and find out what's going on.
I can't live without you.
Welcome to a kingdom where everybody's treated like a king. The crown jewel of Atlantic City.
The traumatic effects of takeovers, tonight, 11:45.
Back at Giant Stadium, the Cleveland Browns leading the Giants by the score of 21-20. The Browns gunning for the 300th victory in franchise history since joining the NFL back in 1950, and a win would also give Cleveland 200 wins under owner Art Modell, who purchased the club back in March of 1961. So the Browns and the Giants involved in a good one. And we'll be back with the second half a bit later on. Right now, let's go to NFL 85.
Welcome those of you who've been watching the Giants and Browns or the Patriots and Colts. Bob Costas along with Pete Axtrom and Ahmad Rashad. Let's get you updated. Denver and Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. The Broncos lead it by a score of 10-6. Highlights from that game that has now gone to halftime. You recall that a year ago in the playoffs at Denver, Chuck Noll's Steelers upset the Broncos. They come in as a 2-point favorite today, despite the fact that they're just 6-6, and the Broncos share first with the Raiders in the AFC West at 8-4. Early confusion for Denver. Elway collides with Winder. It's a 1-yard loss. A Gary Anderson field goal gives Pittsburgh a 3-0 lead in the second quarter, but Elway makes it 7-3 Denver on this pass to Clint Sampson, who beat Dwayne Woodruff, and it's 7-3 after the 24-yard touchdown. Since then, Carlos and Anderson have exchanged field goals. Gary Anderson, by the way, has made 14 in a row this season for the Steelers, who now trail at 10-6 as they go to the locker rooms. In the game many of you are watching, Cleveland in front of the Giants, 21-20 at the half, a game we expected to be a defensive struggle. Instead, a wide-open affair. The Giants plagued by 3 first-half turnovers. Highlights from that game. Bill Parcells and company need to win to again forge a tie atop the NFC East with the Cowboys at 9-4. Early on, they take a 7-0 lead on one of Joe Morris's 2 touchdowns, this one from 3 yards out. However, Kevin Mack, who might go over 1,000 yards for the season, along with teammate Ernest Biner, goes 42 yards still in the first quarter, breaking tackles near the line of scrimmage, and then after he bursts through the middle, he sheds a few more defenders, goes in from 42 and ties the game at 7 apiece. After Ernest Biner scored from the 2 to make it 14-7 Cleveland, here's one of those 3 Giant turnovers. Al Gross with the interception on the Phil Simms pass, clear sailing down the sideline, 37 yards, 21-7 Browns. Morris again, however. This one will cover 58 yards. He had 88 yards unofficially for the half. Sideline he goes, the guy profiled in the pregame show by Ahmad Rashad, and responding to that attention with a strong first half. They missed the extra point, however, and so they trail by 1 instead of being tied at halftime. Here is their last touchdown. Bobby Johnson, just before halftime, takes in the 29-yarder from Phil Simms. The Giants are thin at wide receiver, with Ernest Gray having been waived and picked up by the Cardinals. Lionel Manuel hurt, but Bobby Johnson still very much a presence, and that missed extra point could prove very important in the game as the Giants trail by 1 at halftime. Houston playing at Cincinnati. They've now gone to the third quarter. Cincinnati leads it there 28-10. Let's take a look at some highlights. Boomer Esiason got his team out to a 21-0 lead at the end of the first quarter. Larry Kinnebrew doing much of the damage. He scored 3 first-half touchdowns. We're talking about a 275-pound fullback here, folks. That's why 2 defenders can't stop him. In he goes from 7 yards out to make it 7-0 in the first. Still in the first quarter, after Kinnebrew scored 1, James Brooks takes the swing pass from Esiason, and goodbye. It covers 57 yards. 21-0 is the score. Then Kinnebrew scored from 3 yards out on this play early in the second quarter, his 3rd touchdown, 4th unanswered for Cincinnati. They led 28-0. Houston came back with 10 points before the half ended. Zendejas, a 25-yard field goal, and then on the last play before intermission, the Hail Mary deflected up in the air, and Oliver Luck's pass winds up in the arms of Butch Woolfolk, the former Giant, for the touchdown to make it 28-10. They're early now in the third quarter. Philadelphia playing at home, and at the half they lead Minnesota 20-0. Ron Jaworski has a pair of touchdown passes. The Vikings have been hapless. Their only threat thus far ended when Jan Stenerud missed a field goal from only 19 yards out. New Orleans at home against the Rams. They've gone to the third, and on 3 Morton Anderson field goals, the Saints lead at 9-3. Eric Dickerson for the Rams and Earl Campbell for the Saints, each with 45 yards rushing in the first half. New England and Indianapolis also at halftime, and the 24-17. At one time, they had a 17-3 lead, and doing it without the injured Steve Grogan, who's gone for the season. And so Tony Eason is in charge now, and he got them in front 7-0 in the first quarter on the slant pattern to Irving Fryer. Then with the score 10-7 in the second quarter, still in favor of the Patriots, Mike Pagel tries to throw, and he'll be intercepted by Fred Marion, who now has 7 for the season. And Marion's return puts the Patriots back in business, deep in Colt territory, and they capitalize with the veteran Stanley Morgan, who has really benefited from having Irving Fryer on the other side, making the catch and bullying through a defender into the end zone, and they led at one point 17-3. However, the Colts came back with a pair of touchdowns, and that evened it up at 17 before Craig James scored from 4 yards out just before the half to give the Patriots the lead again by a touchdown. If they win, they move into a first-place tie with the Jets in the AFC East. Green Bay and Tampa Bay in a genuine snowstorm at Green Bay. Better than a foot of snow has fallen already. Lynn Dickey scored from a yard out in the second quarter for the Packers. Then early in the third, Gary Ellis, a 35-yard run. It's 14-0. Green Bay. And Ahmad, you've played in your share of bad weather in the past.
I really have. I mean, in Minnesota, but that's when it becomes fun, because you can't make a mistake. If you fall down, you can always say you slipped. But let's get back to the guy. I told you this guy was too small. 88 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half. He's too small. But I talked to Bill Parcells, and he said that Joe really had a problem last week. He had 2 fumbles, and adversity either does 1 or 2 things to a player. Either you come back strong or you fade away. Parcells said Joe Morse is the type of guy that he sat him down, let him think about it a while, and he's responding to that today. He's playing a whale of a game out there at the Meadowlands.
Thanks, Ahmad. NFL 85 halftime activities will continue following these messages from your local stations.
Monday, a 3-hour premiere.
Daddy, what's the fever?
The voice station. Misunderstood.
There's no looking back.
The intimate story. We never knew. John and Yoko.
I love you more.
Monday.
Oh, I had a wonderful time.
Taking off inches. For millions of people in this country, it's become an obsession. It's for that reason Citizen introduces the world's thinnest water-resistant watch. If we can't take inches off your waist, we can at least take millimeters off your wrist. Citizen's ultra-thin collection, the smartest engineering ever strapped to a wrist. At Fortune Off, the source.
Has life gotten worse for blacks in America's big cities? Tomorrow morning at 9.
Continuing now at halftime, earlier today, To visit with the Raiders' Lyle Alzado, who now is trying to battle back from a career-threatening injury, that torn Achilles tendon. He won't be back until next year at the earliest, but he's traveling with the team, with the Raiders in Atlanta. And here's our visit earlier. Lyle Alzado, the same question has to be asked to you, and I'm sure you've heard it before, as the one that's been asked of Joe Theismann for the past couple of weeks. Mid-30s, serious injury. Is the season over, or is the career over?
No, it's just the season that's over, Bob. I don't, you know, when you have a serious injury, it just depends upon who has the injury. And I've always believed that if an injury takes place, especially to me, I can always come back from it. Physically, I always believe I can do things other people can't do.
Is it difficult to be with the ball club? There you are in Atlanta right now, and to stand on the sideline and know you can't contribute?
Well, that, you know, the emotional part of it's very difficult for me to sit there and watch and not be able to actually go in there physically and help. But at the same time, you got to look at the fact that I get a free plane ride. And I'm with my friends telling all kinds of jokes.
Any that can be shared here in this forum?
Wrong.
But on the other hand, this has left you more open dates, and you can go on The Tonight Show or on Letterman more frequently than before.
That's quite true, but after the Carson show, I haven't really been asked to do anything but this, and I want you to know that I will honor this invitation being on your show for always.
What about the post-career of Lyle Alzado, whenever that football career comes to an end? We see you constantly in commercials. You've got a good agent working for you, fella.
Well, you know, the things that have come my way have been pretty nice, you know, the commercial work and everything, but at the same time, you know, I happen to respect this organization here. Al Davis has done a lot of things for me, and I don't particularly want to leave the situation until he tells me that it's time to leave, and he hasn't told me that yet. As a matter of fact, he specifically told me he'd like me to come back and play next year. All the things off the field still have to be secondary to my football career until Al Davis tells me otherwise. There have been scripts and things sent to me, and I have been offered things that are very intriguing to me, but at the same time, I still feel that I'm an athlete, and until that feeling goes away, that's my first love, my first priority.
How good are these Raiders now, even minus Lyle Alzado?
I think they're very good. Sean Jones, the gentleman who took my place, is big and strong. He's fast. He plays the run very well. He has some problems rushing the passer, but at the same time, that just comes with experience. Howie Long, in my opinion, is probably the best defensive lineman overall in football today, and Bill Pickell is fast becoming one of the best nosemen in football. So they're good.
We know the Bears are the best team in the NFL right now. Outside of the Raiders, who's the best team in the AFC? Who do you have to beat if you want to get to the Super Bowl?
I think it'd probably be the Jets this year. I'm surprised, too, at the Jets, mainly because in the opening game we played them and thubbed them pretty good, 31-0. They obviously came around, had a team meeting, came around and football. At the same time, though, you can never count out a team like Miami. So I think it's us, Miami, and the Jets. You know, New England's a possibility. But at the same time, Chicago's not the best team in football. I think the Raiders are.
Lyle, thanks very much. We hope to see you back in uniform next year.
All right, thanks a lot.
Lyle Alzado, a man working to overcome his inhibitions. NFL 85 halftime activities will continue in just a minute. Stay with us.
At the half at Giants Stadium, the Browns by 1 over the Giants, 21-20. Marv Albert with Bob Greasy, and as Bob traditionally points out at the start of each game, he focuses in on the keys, and he pointed out off-camera moments ago the club that has the most points when the final gun goes off should win the ball game. Actually, the Browns, you said, must throw the ball effectively.
Well, and they're throwing it, but not too effectively. I think Bernie Kosar is thrown for 80 yards, 86 yards or whatever. But the big play in the first half was for the Browns was the interference call in the end zone, throwing the ball, and that has helped them a great deal. Their defense is playing a lot better and creating some things for them.
And the Giants have run it very effectively on the ground. The combination of Adams and Morris, and it was Morris with that spectacular 58-yard run for the touchdown.
Well, here it is right here. You're going to see these two pulling around this way. Morris will take a block here, but the main block will be McConkey on Minifield right here. Take a look as we'll see. The play coming right at you. Coming out of the backfield, Morris gets the call. Now the two offensive linemen, watch the block right here. Right there you see the great block thrown right there by one of the offensive linemen. And now McConkey down here is going to throw a key block, not a devastating block, but If you hold it still right here, you'll see the block. Not a great block, but just good enough to tie Minifield up so Morris can use his speed to run by him. And that, they have run more. They have needed to run more, and they've taken some pressure off of Phil Simms.
And Morris, 88 yards on 10 carries. Look at the quarterback statistics. Kosar, 6 for 15, 86 yards. Simms, 12 for 21, but intercepted twice.
Well, the blinking 3, the big turnovers right there, 2 interceptions and a fumble, tell the story for the Browns.
And looming large, the missed extra point by Eric Schubert, the tripping penalty on Lawrence Taylor, leading to the 29-yard kick for the extra point instead of the 19, and Schubert was off the mark. Here's Adams on the kickoff return, finding the hole across the 30-yard line. George Adams, the #1 draft pick for the Giants, rookie from Kentucky, going 28 yards on the return, stopped by Chris Rockins. And here comes Phil Simms and the Giants offensive unit.
Quarterback comparison, Simms having those 2 costly interceptions, but bringing the team back late in the first half for a big score.
Morris and Carthon, the running backs. Williams in motion. And here's Morris. That time the Browns all over him, led by Clay Matthews, the outside linebacker, and the inside man, Eddie Johnson. Defensively, it's Camp, Golick, Hairston up front. Banks, Johnson, Cousineau, and Matthews. Outstanding group of linebackers. Minifield, Gross, Rogers, and Dixon in the secondary. But now a 2nd down and 9 from the 33. Carpenter and Morris are the setbacks. And Simms was tripped up from behind. Sack number 3 for the Browns. Clay Matthews with his 2nd of the day and number 6 on the season.
Clay Matthews just running over as Simms is hurt. It's a lower ankle or knee problem, and he's going to have to come off. I guess he's walking it off, but take a look from the blind side, the left side of your picture. Ard is pushed back. You see right there, his right ankle as he was set to throw. Actually, his own man, Billy Ard, stepped on his ankle.
And Simms will hang in, has a 3rd down and 15, and hobbling back out of the shotgun, getting it off. Galbraith hit immediately, way short of the 1st down. Frank Minifield on the stop, and Phil Simms limping off.
This is a tough duty for these quarterbacks today. As we look at number 17, Jeff Rutledge, who was ready to go on the field, but 2 very, very active defenses.
And Simms and Parcells are talking it over. Sean Lendetta back at his 15-yard line. Brian Brennan is back, and Lendetta took the hit, but no penalty will be called. He was looking for a roughing the kicker, but not called.
Well, it was not called because the official ruled that the man was blocked into him. Lendetta's man blocked the Brown into him, and there is no...
Looked to be Gary Reason. Let's see if we can pick it up. Number 55, who blocked it into Lendetta.
Right there, as you see. Now, the path that Rogers, number 20, would have taken would not have roughed the passer.
Tom Dooley looking for some assistance on the call.
Well, he's not going to get any there. That's his call and his alone.
37-yard punt. Browns take over from their 33. 2 minutes gone by. 3rd quarter. Browns lead 21-20. Now this is Kevin Mack stacked up. The nose tackle, Jim Burt, leading it. And some extracurricular activity between the Giants and the Browns.
Well, Jim Burt took that ball away from Kevin Mack. The officials ruled that he was down, but Burt doesn't have his hands on the ball that often, and he was heading for the end zone.
Mack picked up 1, 2nd down and 9. 59 yards, 10 carries for Mack. And a defense from the crowd. at the time. Almost intercepted. Terry Kennard not able to hang on. The pass intended for Brian Brennan.
Ball should have been picked off, Marv. Bernie Kosar says the difference in playing last year in college and playing this year in pros is that there are no weak players on the defense. Everybody has the skill. The skill level is so much higher than it is in college football. And obviously this man right here is a very good football player and should have picked it off.
Third down and 9 from the Browns 35. At the line by Leonard Marshall.
Conservative call, a typical the Browns being in the situation as you take a look at Leonard Marshall, number 70, and Reasons 54 coming to the outside, but Marshall does the damage.
So a tough defensive series by the Giants, and Jeff Gossett will punt from inside his 20. McConkey settling under. McConkey had it closed off, so he runs it out. 47-yard punt.